Action. Well, folks, we're going to go ahead and do a few videos on how many mowers I got, including the mowers that Grandpa and I use for our lawn service. So here we go. The 1984 Coast to Coast. Haven't ran that since last year in the summer, mainly because the starter went out. They don't crank over at all. So I tried drill starting it, it wouldn't start. Found out it was just out of gas. So I'm hoping that it'll fire up, but she ain't pretty much drivable pretty much because the tires are flats. But I can pump them up. The rusty 1985 Sears, what's underneath this tarp, where this black push mower deck's sitting on top. It's that pulling deck. Last time I ran it, ran fine, but I haven't ran it since last year. Probably the gas is pretty bad now from the winter storms, and it's still winter. Spring's next month. It ran fine, but it's got an oil leak, and the transmission may be bad because the tire pops out and then suddenly the tractor stops. But when I pop the tire back in a little bit, just a little kick or maybe a hard kick, it starts rolling again. So transaxle may be shot. It's not the rims or anything. It's just I feel it click and then suddenly the tractor stops. So it's got to be the transaxle. But it would run good as you get it all fixed up, maybe another transaxle on it, and fix the oil leak on the engine. And right here is the 1986 Coast to Coast. Looks the same as the 84 except it's green, and it shows the Coast to Coast logo. And it's got the double shifter on it. Oh no, the red one, the 84, it's got a single shifter on there. But this has the double, like on the more modern MTDs. It ran great last season. Just haven't drove it since then because of I changed the tire on it, and then when I went to get it back on the bead by starter fluid and a match, it ripped open a crack, and then now it's leaking air bad. Just need to put a tube in there. That's all I needed, and then this thing could be a runner again. I just hope I can do that soon. The sooner, the better. Just been too busy with everything else. And of course, low on cash. Now the 1990 Craft Dozer. It's now sitting here behind the garage. I call it pretty much the boneyard part of the yard because a lot of the dead mowers end up back here. Yep, she's done for this bunch of crap, and I think she needs to be torn down and then use another tractor. There's too many problems with it. Like, can't start, just have to use a screwdriver, and it can't shift no more. So I end up just parting it out when we had those nice days. So, oh well. I could always put the blade on that 1995 Sears Craftsman I got, that I call Dark Horse, which you'll see here in a minute. What a shame. We had a lot of fun with this thing. Me and you viewers watching it. And there's the 1995 parts mower. I thought it was in 1990, all because of the engine code, but I look at the serial number, it said 95. So it's a 95 Sears Craftsman parts mowers. Got to pull the transaxle off of it because it's still good. Alright, the 1982 Sensation push mower. I still haven't got it running yet because we don't have the proper sandpaper to sand the points. And if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, but I think 1982 was the last year of the points. Well, I'm pretty much glad they don't use points in these anymore. I really don't like that points very well because if they get corroded or dirty, you can't get any spark. That's why I like the modern version better, even though I like old school things. But oh well, it's part of maintenance when you get some used mowers for free. But what the heck. Pretty good shape, still solid too. And the old Edger, 1961 McLean. It runs great. I was running that thing yesterday. And last weekend, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think it was last weekend. Changed the oil in that. Now it's got new oil in it. Probably will change it again just to make sure all that junk's all flushed out. Since that thing's an antique. Whew. Very old. I mean old, but it still runs. And it's still solid. It's all steel. And all American made. Oh, I forgot about the Sensation push mower. On Friday, the 17th, it was its 30th birthday. Because if I'm not mistaken, '82. Still gotta find the bolts for these thing. Yep, February 17th, 1982. So it'd be 30 years old. Yeah, I think Friday was the 17th. If I'm not mistaken. I'm kind of losing my days a little bit. Now the 2007 Husqvarna. Grandpa might have found the problem why it won't run. It might be just that foam stuff that was on the gas cap, I think, or somewhere in the tank. Got caught where the gas goes to the carburetor. So I'm hoping that's the problem, because if it is, that'd be awesome. And then this thing will be up and rolling again. But the starter will need work too, because I noticed just right before it broke down, it sounded like the starter was sticking. I mean, it wouldn't release. But we'll see. Now, Dark Horse, the 1995 Sears Craftsman. I got it running last year just before the first day of fall. Just, I don't know, a couple weeks. 1 week, couple weeks. No, I think it was a couple weeks before fall, if I'm not mistaken. I got it running for 5 minutes, and then it died, and I couldn't get spark no more. I think there's a short in the wire somewhere, because the ignition's kind of haywire, where the engine's supposed to run and not run. Like if I have it on, when I have the ignition on, no spark. Ignition off, there's spark. Always start, it pops a fuse every time. Other than that, it's got a good motor, and the transaxle's good too. Probably needs another belt. Felt like it was slipping when I got it driving. Just up the road and back, and then went out from there on. So we'll see. Color command, kind of like on the 93, which you'll see here in a minute or two. Now the Sears Craftsman push mower, same year as Dark Horse, 1995. Starter rope broke when I was trying to get it started. Still having problems with the carburetor. The last time I fiddled with it, and that was last year in the fall. So I'm hoping that all it is clogged jets and all that stuff, but it's a Tecumseh, so probably be a pain in the butt. Not too terribly thrilled of the 1990s and 2000s Tecumsehs very well. I like the 80s ones way better, or older. Seems I have way better luck. So, hoping I fix the starter rope, and the carburetor will be a good runner. It's in great shape too. The deck is like about brand new, including the top there, top of the motor. That looks no sign of rust on there. A little bit of rust here and there, but nothing severe. Just from sitting in the garage for a while. But hopefully we get it running. Now the 1984 Turo with the 2-stroke motor. It runs great. This needs a little carburetor work. The bowl is sticking. Or not the bowl, the float, excuse me. The float keeps sticking. It don't want to come back up, because I noticed the gas was leaking out of the air cleaner. And maybe a little bit around the bowl, because I noticed it was pretty wet down there when I had the motor off, with some gas left over in the tank. So she's now out of gas, so I don't have to worry about leaking fuel. So maybe fix the problem and I can use it again. The 2008 Husqvarna Zero Turn. It runs and drives great, but it needs the gas and the tune-up. Other than that, it still runs strong. Even with the engine, it's just suffering for oxygen. But hopefully we get her tuned up soon because mowing season's coming up. It's coming up fast the way how time flies. 24 horse Kohler, 48-inch deck. Awesome machine. It goes fast too. Now the 1991 Husqvarna push mower. It runs great. Just still have that little primer issue. But I don't care. It fires up, no problem. Sometimes it takes a couple tries, maybe 3 tries, maybe even 4. Other than that, it runs great. Haven't ran it yet though. I don't think I ran it last week, and maybe it's been a couple weeks since I last ran it. Oh well. It's a Briggs. They'll fire up. Now the 2005 Husqvarna. Now I'm starting to have a little bit of ignition issues. Last weekend it wouldn't start by the key, and it wasn't a dead battery. The battery was perfectly charged. Sometimes I had to wiggle on the seat, and then I get a tick, and then suddenly the starter would jump and then crank the motor, then go out. I just kept wiggling until I hit the sweet spot on the seat, and suddenly the engine would crank over and then fire right up. The blades were off. They were not on. I don't know. I'm hoping it's just the ignition switch going bad, but never know. Could be the seat, but I hate these safety things on these things. It seems if one thing goes wrong, then the whole thing just goes kaput, out of commission. Other than that, it runs and drives great. Now the 1994 Husqvarna push mower with a self-propelled, with a bagger. Last year I got it going, but the throttle needs some work. That sucker's kind of hard as a rock for some reason. The throttle controls and governor, or where it was sticking the last time I ran it. I really don't remember what it was, but it ran fine. Motor mounts are loose or shot, so the motor was wiggling really bad when when I got it running. That was pretty funny though. And the back left wheel, it needs the original style wheel because it's not in the self-propelled, even though it works, but it wouldn't self-propel itself very well. What the heck? It was free. Can't go wrong with free. Maybe a little bit of money into it, and it'll be a perfectly running mower. Now the 1989 Snapper. I know it's a great mowers ever built, but powered by I don't know, 4 horsepower to a 5 horsepower Briggs & Stratton. But I haven't ran that thing since last summer, and I haven't ran it very much last year because for some reason this thing kept overheating. And I cleaned the fins out, but holy cow, it just kept overheating and getting too hot, and the engine would just stall. But thank the Lord it did not seize up though. And the carburetor's not burning too lean. It's just set just right. I don't know, maybe it needs to be rebuilt or something, or maybe just a whole brand new carburetor. Maybe that'll fix the problem, because I'm tired of that thing slowing down. When it bogs down, it just takes forever to rev back up. But not like super long time, but when the engine goes slow like that, don't get enough air through there, then it overheats. And that's what happened. Because the engine kept going so slow, it just kept overheating, and just got so hot, and then it's finally stalled. So last summer, to fix the problem, I wedged a pencil in there on the throttle so it would rev a little higher than it should, just to get the airflow through there. And that helped. It cooled it down, the engine was running better. Gosh, I bet that piston expanded big time because of all that heat in the combustion chamber. Self-propel worked too. The disc is wearing out. The one on top. The one on the bottom's alright. Now my 2006 Husqvarna with the Honda motor. Pretty much an '07, but even though it was built in 2006, but it's mainly an '07. It runs great. I think I fired it up either last weekend or the week before, and it ran just fine. Runs smooth, nice and quiet, overhead cam. Very tough motor. Not much there. Other than that, it just runs. No problems. Now the old lawn boy. Ran that just not too long ago. It ran perfect. Fired up in 2 pulls after sitting for almost 2 years. That was awesome. So, yeah, I checked the blade. I took it off just to make sure it was perfectly balanced, and it was perfectly balanced. It looked like it was bent there for a while. That's why I haven't ran it for that long. But now I'll run it now that there's nothing wrong with it. Just needs an air filter and a spark plug. Carburetor might be burning a little rich, but I'd rather just leave it the way it is. So it burns too lean, it will damage the engine. And we don't want that. These things are hard to find around here that runs. Now the 1999 Murray, the rear engine rider. Hadn't ran that in a while. Batteries, bad. They don't hold the charge anymore. It's those Ever-Start batteries from Walmart. Good motor though. Carburetor may need some work, because it kind of dripped fuel there for a while, and that's scary. And the carburetor is just right above the muffler. That's scary, big time, and we don't want that. But I don't know what I'm going to do with this. Either strip it down for parts, or just do something. Maybe build out of, I don't know, maybe a mud bogging mower or whatever. But we'll see. I'll have to decide and find out what I'm going to do. Now the 1991 Sears Craftsman tiller. Runs great. Still got some gas in there. A little bit of old gas. Rototilled the garden, and it rototilled just fine with that soggy soil. Got a 5-horse Briggs of Stratton. Gotta love your old Briggs. Now the 2008 Craftsman trimmer. Haven't ran that since last year. I ran that till it ran out of fuel, so probably put some gas in there. It'll fire up no problem. But it ran fine the last time I ran it. Great little machine. We got that for free, and it's almost brand new too. Came with the Husqvarna, the 2007 Husqvarna Rider. Now the DR trimmer, built between 1995 and 98, according to the Tecumseh emission standards. So I thought it was a 99, but it's not. It's a 6-horsepower Tecumseh industrial commercial. That's a good motor right there. I mean, I can have old gas in there sit for a long time, maybe for months, maybe up to a year. It'll still fire up no problem. It takes a little bit to get it fired up, but once it finally gets through, it'll stay running. It's just cold-blooded with the old gas though. But other than that, it would run great. But I haven't ran that since last year. I made that thing run out of gas too, so it'll start easier next time I need to use it. Probably get the numbers off of the tag there, and maybe we'll find out what year it is. Now the 1990 MTD lawn tractor. Haven't ran that in a while too, maybe since last year too, because mowing season's over. It's got a 12-horsepower industrial commercial Briggs of Stratton. Good motor. Transaxle needs work because it keeps twisting every time I take off, causing the belt to rub on a metal bracket or wherever, and that's not good. Belts are expensive. It could snap off any time if I just run it like that. I got to keep it from twisting. The transaxle is not original according to that last owner I got it from. Other than that, it's a pretty strong runner though. Now the 1994 Sears with the 1990 Briggs motor. Just needs a battery. Get the kill wire in. It'd probably be a good runner again. Yep, there's that 1990 Briggs of Stratton industrial commercial I put in there back in 2010. Great mower. Need another driveline belt. I'm planning to give this to a buddy of mine because he says he needs a lawn tractor. I was going to give him the Murray, but I'd rather give him the Sears instead. Double bladed, 38 inches. Like I said, this needs a battery and a kill wire because I've been killing it by lowering the throttle all the way down and putting the highest gear possible and popping the clutch. Now the old green. Haven't ran that since last year, I think in July. Only ran it for a little bit. Didn't run it very much last season. Probably should take the carburetor bowl off and clean it out. It'd be a good runner again. Needs throttle work too because it's just idling. Now the 88 Sears Rider. Hadn't ran that in a while. Just mainly ran out of gas. Got a 12 horse overhead valve Tecumseh. The throttle works now after I made that adjustment. Carburetor adjustment. Because found out it was burning too lean. That's why she was rapidly revving up and down. Other than the back right tire is flat. Still a strong runner. Stuck at second gear. Hoping I can fix that. The old Murray Turo I'd nickname. Engine was originally off of a Murray. It was built in 1995. And the deck has the 1984 safety standards. I really don't know what year the deck is. So I just prefer 84. So it could be an 85 or 86. But the engine runs great. Haven't ran that for maybe a couple weeks now because of the crappy weather. Good mower. This needs a little work. Possibly a new spark plug and air filter. And an oil change. And sharpen the blades too. There, the yellow mower there. That's my 1986 Coast to Coast push mower. I got that thing running, I don't know, maybe a couple weeks ago. Found out there's a little bit of holes in the gas tank. So maybe replace the gas tank and carburetor would be a strong runner. The engine runs great though. Other than that, just needs a gas tank. It'd be a good runner again. Now the 96 Murray with the 93 Briggs. The engine runs great. I ran that for a couple weeks too. Yeah, I'll probably need to change the crankcase one of these days because it's cracked and the bolts that were on there, the heads broke off from the last owner and the bolts are completely seized on there, so it's being held on by one bolt on the deck. Am I lucky? Other than that, it runs great. And plus I make sure that bolt's nice and tight too, because if it starts coming loose I have to shut it off and tighten that bolt. Yep, only one mounting bolt's holding that thing onto the deck. But thank God the broken bolts are nice and long enough to go through the holes though on the deck, so it won't wiggle as bad. Now my old and tired 1977 Snapper. Oh yeah, I think it'll be its 35th birthday. I think it was on the 16th of this month. February 16th, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't ran that since December of last year when I had to suck up some leaves. Other than that, that thing is tough as nails. Gas tank's not original. But other than that, this thing's a strong runner. Just need to do something with the exhaust though. Plus I gotta fix that oil leak on the valve spring chamber. Because the gasket may be bad and it's leaking oil every time I run it. But not very bad. Just a small leak. Last but not least, the mighty 1993 Sears Craftsman Rider. Haven't ran that thing in 2 weeks. Last weekend I would have run it, but she's getting low on gas. That's why I haven't ran it in quite a while now. So, I know as soon as we get more money, I can get more gas and I can run this thing more. Yeah, the redneck stereo I had on there is not on there anymore. You saw the speaker sitting on that 84 Coast to Coast because I snapped the wire in half by accident. Must got caught under those big tires. Yep, 14 horse Kohler. All it needed was a new coil when I got her because it wasn't getting any spark. But as soon as I put that puppy on, this thing's been running great since. One awesome machine. That thing's a torque monster. Well, there you go. All my mowers. Oh, wait a minute. We got 2 more, so stay tuned. There we go. There's my other push mower. Almost forgot about it. My 1986 Sears Craftsman. Well, I worked on it. I think it was a week ago or 2 weeks ago. I think it was last weekend. Yeah, it wouldn't fire on that old gas. I found out that ethanol made the gas turn into jelly there in the bowl. I'm like, oh yeah, that'll do her. That'll cause her not to run. Now it's all cleaned out. I got all the old gas drained out of there. So all I have to do is add some fresh fuel. Maybe it'll fire up. But we'll see. The deck's a little rusty. Still solid. 3.5 horse Tecumseh. 20-inch cut. That reminds me of old Wobbly Wheeler. Except Wobbly Wheeler was a bagger push mower, not a side discharge. Except I didn't have a bagger for it. Alright, that push mower there is the 1992 Sears Craftsman, that one with the rotted out deck. That ain't mine, but I worked on that too, so I'm hoping I get it going again so I can return it to the owner that owns it. He said he doesn't care how long I have it, just try to get it running. So I'm hoping I get some gas and then put it in here and put it in there and see if it's going to run and stay running. Worked on it last summer and it just kept dying out. There's too much junk in the carburetor, mainly, or the jets were plugged up. Yep, 1992. Built in July, I believe. But this here was built in October of 86. So there you go. All my push mowers and riders, all the mowers I got, including that edger. You might have noticed I got my tires in here, the B&F Goodrich Mud-Terrains, plus other tires. That's pretty much it for the machines, so hope you enjoyed. So y'all have a good day, and bye-bye.